we are looking at reasons for demanding commodities. Reasons for demanding commodities. We had done in our previous lesson, we had done the aggregate demand and the causes, the factors that determine aggregate demand. We looked at them and we said we are now looking at, we have to look at the reasons. Why do people demand commodities? Even you as a student, you can ask yourself, why do I demand commodities? So economists come up and look at the ways how people behave in the market. Then we get to know that people demand commodities for various reasons. Therefore, we want to find out, why do people really go out to buy commodities? If you have never asked yourself the reason why you went to buy sugar, why you went to buy the shoes, it is now that you have to realize what we usually have behind our minds as we demand the commodities. Number one, we have what we call speculative. That is number one. Why do we demand commodities? For speculative reasons or business reasons. Sometimes we call it business reasons. Speculative or business reasons. Some people demand commodities when they are going into trade. He knows that once I buy this commodity now and I keep it for some time, I'm going to sell it. So you find so many people going to the market to buy certain commodities. Reason, they want to make money or difference or to make a profit out of what they are buying. So you find somebody is buying certain kind of commodities. He's even looking for money so that he buys those commodities. Why? Because he has an intention of reselling them and getting a profit. So when they speculate that these commodities in the near future, they will be having some profits, they are going to look for them. So you find these people moving up and down. We are looking for these commodities. Why are they looking for them? For business reasons, for speculative reasons. They want to make money out of the transactions that they are going to carry out. So that is one reason why people demand commodities. Remember, we are looking at price theory, and we are on the side of the demand, and we have been looking at various issues of demand. So you demand commodities because of business, because you want to do business, you want to transact and get profits. Number two, another reason why people demand commodities is what we call functional demand. Functional demand. Functional demand. I think I mentioned it at one point, that when we are writing these some notes, there are some abbreviations which are allowed when you are writing your notes, but not in exam. So if you are reading in a book and you find all notes and you find DD, it means you are talking about demand. I also mentioned, if you see capital Y, it represents income. So some of these, when you put them on the blackboard, don't get lost and say, as put there a capital Y. That is income, and this is demand. So functional demand. Some people demand commodities because the commodities that they need are for a certain purpose. They are functional. For example, if people are moving around, they are looking for chairs. They are demanding chairs, these plastic chairs. They have a function. They have an activity they are going to have. So they need it. Some people may demand commodities because they have activities they are going to carry out. And that means they will be looking for this because of those activities. Now, if those activities are covering a big area, there will be very high demand. We have an activity which is also seasonal, but you will find people demanding certain commodities. People who are looking, or I don't know whether it is gathering, but those who get senene, the grasshoppers, you find them demanding iron sheets, these white iron sheets, the reflective iron sheets. They will demand those powerful electric bulbs. Why? Because they have a function. They are going to be used for certain activity. So, some of the demand that we have is because we have a function, or we have an activity we are supposed to carry out. As students, I think we demand books, pens, because they have a function as students. You demand trousers because you need to put them on as a student. You demand shoes. These are functional reasons. You have a function that you are going to use it for. So the demand is because of the function. You may not even need it, like it, but as long as it is for a purpose, we call it functional demand. So that is another reason why people demand commodities. They demand commodities because of the functions that those commodities are supposed to serve. Then there's demand we call impulse demand. Impulse demand, that is number 3. Why do people demand commodities? There's when you demand commodities because out of impulse. This one is usually natural. There are people who are created like that. When they see something, they get excited and they feel like buying those commodities. And sometimes you may even ask him, what are you going to use this thing for? Say, when I looked at it, it excited me and I had to buy it. So some demand is out of impulse, that when you look at it, then you get excited. That's why when you go to these trade shows, these people know how to organize their commodities. People go to see what is sold there, but they get excited and finally they demand these commodities. So if they have the money, say, let me buy it. What are you going to do? I'll get something to use it for. I can't fail to get because it is out of impulse. Sometimes it is either exciting you, the commodity, or the people you are moving with have talked well about it and you get excited. Say, now I feel I want to buy this commodity. That is called impulse demand. By the way, we have to ask ourselves, why do we have to look at these types of demands? If you are going to be a producer on the other side and you are looking at these commodities, you have to know these commodities are demanded for what reason. Is it function? Is it impulse? Because you may produce it and it is a commodity that is usually bought out of impulse. Your sales may be affected if people are not getting excited over the commodity. So that's another reason. Impulse demand. Demand is coming out of excitement, that you want to get these commodities. They have excited you. Especially these machines. You may be moving and somebody shows you how it operates, how it works. You say, no, this one I have to buy it. But you may even look at it and say, but now, you may find some people asking themselves, I have bought it. Now I don't know. At home we cannot use it. But anyway, my children will use it, or I will find a way. That means you bought it out of impulse. So the demand was out of impulse. Then there is the snob effect. Snob effect demand. Snob effect demand. This is a demand for commodities by certain people who want to show class. They feel that they have to be distinguished from others. So when they reach that class, he leaves what he has been using and buys something that is of class. If you look at most of these people driving Benzes, the Benz vehicles, those are class vehicles. The Hammers, those are very expensive. Somebody says, with me, now I cannot drive a Toyota, my class. So he demands those commodities because he wants to show the public that he is in a different class. He is not ordinary. So that's when you buy a Benz. Say, why do you have to buy a Benz? But you look at me. I no longer fit to buy those local vehicles. If they are shirts, he will not buy these ordinary shirts. He wants to buy those ones of a high class. That one we call it snob effect demand. So you look at the commodities which are being sold and you find out, do I belong to that class that will have that snob effect demand? Or I'm still ordinary? There are people of that class. And if for you as a consumer, you need to know that these commodities belong to this class. So that one is called snob effect demand. Then there's something that's another reason which is almost similar, to the snob effect. It's called Verbum effect. Verbum effect demand. Verbum effect demand. This is demand which is usually done, which is usually carried out by people to show Veblen effect. This one almost looks similar, appears to be almost similar to snob effect demand. But the difference is that Veblen effect demand, this is where people demand commodities because they want to look different from others, special, exclusive from others. Even if he's not rich, even if he's not of a class, but he demands commodities so that he looks unique. And if he finds that the shirt he bought has been bought by other 5 people, he abandons that one and looks for another which is unique. That one is called Veblen effect demand. This one is common among the youth who want to look exclusively from others. That I don't put on those shoes because they are put on by so many of those people. I want to look unique. If it is a function, such a person will buy a shirt which is unique, will buy shoes, and when he comes to the function, he will come last, enters last, so that people can see that he bought a different shirt. His is not common, and such people are very good at talking about themselves. I don't put on what those people are putting on. Mine is unique. Do you know where I bought it? So that one is called Veblen effect demand. People demand commodities to look unique, to look exclusively from others. They don't want to be the same. There's that demand. Now, if you're a producer, you need to know that these commodities I'm producing, they are unique. and the demand for such people, the demand for such commodities is basically from such a group. If that group is not in that area, then the demand for them, for such goods, will be low. So you have to know that the people in this place, they want to look unique. So I have to bring such and such commodities. It is very common to the youth, I have said, and the people who want to distinguish themselves as unique. It's different from snob. Snob, it is a class. Say, for me now, I'm a professor. I'm of a high class. I buy something that belongs to my class. But these ones who are of Verbum, for them, they want to be unique. Even if the shirt is not very good, but it is unique. Even if the dressing is not very expensive, but it is unique. That he will appear from the society, from the congregation, from the group, that one is a different person. So there is demand for sight. You will find him moving street to street, looking for something. When you say, this shirt is good, but it is worn by so many people. Even so and so, I saw him putting it on. I want that one which is unique. That's why you find sometimes some individuals, you buy a red shirt and puts on a yellow trouser and a white hat to look unique. So he demands those commodities because he feels he should be unique. He should look different from others. Then there's what we call bandwagon demand. Bandwagon demand. This is the demand where an individual or individuals demand commodities because others are demanding them. They buy because others have bought. Sometimes you may find them and ask him, yes, I can know so and so has bought that because of this, and he has bought this because of this. Now you, why have you bought this? But everybody was buying. What could I do? So that demand is called the bandwagon. People are buying because everybody is buying. And when he gets home, you ask him, now, why did you have to buy these things? My friend, those people I was moving with everybody was buying. Then I said, how can I be unique? I mean, isolated from them. So I bought. I'm also wondering, what are we going to use them for? That means the demand was a bandwagon demand. So there is sometimes people demand commodities out of bandwagon to follow others. And all these ones have effects. If you buy as a bandwagon, sometimes you may find that most of the things you buy are not as useful to you as they should, because you only saw people buy and you also you buy. Then there is another reason why people demand commodities when there is anticipation of scarcity problem. I put this one here. Anticipation of scarcity. Anticipation of scarcity of commodities. So sometimes people demand commodities and you find everybody is running to the market to buy. They are buying sugar, they are buying food items. Say, why? Why is the demand increasing? Why is everybody running for sugar, for rice, for posho? Because they are anticipating that there might be scarcity in the future. So the reason for that demand is because of the fear. That's what we call anticipation of scarcity, or we can add on scarcity in the future. Scarcity in the future of the commodity. This one is common during anticipated wars, if there is a war that is looming around, or if you see that the drought is coming. Say now food is likely to get expensive, or scarcity of the food, or scarcity of commodities because of the war. So this one forces people to have very high demand. They go into buying these commodities because of the scarcity which is anticipated. So those are possibly the last one I can give is government policy. So sometimes commodities are demanded because it is a government policy. Government has said you must have A, B, C, D. The demand for such commodities will be high. The example we can give in Uganda, there's a high demand today for national identity cards. Why? It's government policy. Wherever you want to do this, national ID. You want to do this, national ID. Government has made it a policy that the people who want to get certain services must present national IDs. So the demand is high. Not that all those who are demanding those national IDs, they feel that they should have them, but they are doing so because they are responding to government policy. When he goes to the hospital, they are demanding the ID. If he goes to do this, there is a need for ID. You do this, so you say government has put there a policy, everybody must have such commodities. Now, that one is a reason why are you demanding the national ID? It is government policy. Everybody above 18 is supposed to have the ID. So I'm demanding it. Even if you say it costs this much, he will pay for that ID because he is responding to the government policy. So these are the reasons why we have demand for commodities. You can ask yourself, when you go to the market, where do you follow here as you buy something? Are you demanding it because of functional demand, because of speculative? Is it a snob effect? So whenever you are spending to buy a commodity, ask yourself, where do I fall under the reasons for demanding? Why are you demanding it? Is it really anticipation that prices will go up? Are you demanding it because it is a Verbum effect? You want to look unique? Is it because of Bandwagon? You have seen everybody buying it. If you have moved in a place and you go to the shop, some people, you hear them telling you, I was not to buy this soda. But when I reached there, almost everybody was buying soda. They were asking, soda. So I said, can I be unique? Let me buy the soda. And you go on complaining, I bought the soda. I even don't want to take it. Say, but why did you buy it? Everybody at the canteen was asking, soda. It is also common with the students. When they go to canteens, they normally buy things they wouldn't have bought, but because of Bandwagon, he has gone to buy pancakes. If it is everybody is asking for cake. Say, everybody is asking for cake. Let me buy cake. Say, I had gone to buy butunda, but I found everybody is asking for cake. I said, I can't be unique. Let me buy. So you buy out of Bandwagon. So ask yourself, whenever you are buying something, what reason do you have for buying what you are buying? Is it function, speculative, impulse, snob, Verbum, Bandwagon, anticipation, or is it a government policy? You are doing it because a government has forced you to buy it or to possess that commodity. So those are the reasons. And as an economist, as a consumer, we said once we're in demand, we categorize whoever is buying as a consumer. Everybody who is buying is a consumer. When you look at supply, whoever is bringing a commodity is a supplier. But here it is a consumer. So whenever you're buying anything, you're a consumer. Now, if you're a consumer, why are you buying? And those are the reasons why you are buying. We are moving again to another area of demand, and this is called change in demand. change in demand. Change in demand. When you are demanding something, we looked at the aggregate demand, the market demand. Why would there be change in demand? Why do people change the amount of commodities they are demanding? We said in our demand law, what you are buying can increase or reduce due to the price. But here we have a situation where there is change in demand when that factor has not changed. So, by definition, we say change in demand is the increase. This is the increase or decrease in the quantity demanded of a commodity without a change in the commodity price. That's what we call change in demand. And what do we look at when you are marking or looking at this definition? It is the increase or decrease at no change, without a change in the price, in the commodity price. You may also put it in a different way, but meaning the same, that this is the increase or decrease in the quantity demanded at constant price. That word constant, at constant price, it means that price has not changed, but there is an increase or decrease in the amount which is demanded. So, whenever you are demanding something, look at that situation. There is no change in price, but demand is increasing. We have to go back to our diagram of demand. Our diagram of demand, and see what we mean by this. This can be illustrated through a diagram. We are going to have two diagrams for good illustration. For a good illustration, let's have two diagrams. And here we put price. We don't forget the origin. And then we put quantity of the commodities that we are buying. Here the same price, the origin, then quantity. Now when you look at the increase, it means that you are going to have a demand curve. A demand curve which you already have in your books, or which you have already looked at. That is the demand curve. We said you have to name it, to label it. That is a demand curve. We are having the price here, and this is the quantity. So quantity 1, price 1. When we say increase in demand, the change is positive. The demand curve shifts to the right. But there is no change in price, but the output has increased from Q1 to Q2. The price has increased from Q1 to Q2, without any change in the price. The price is constant, as you can see. It has not changed. It is still price 1, but there is an increase in the price, in the quantity that is demanded. This one is called increase in demand. That is an increase in demand. The demand curve shifts from its original to the new level. And this shift means that you are demanding more commodities because of other factors, but not price. This one is violating the price, the demand law. That this demand can only increase when the price changes. But we are seeing a situation where demand is increasing when there is no change in the level of price. Alternatively, we can have demand 1, or here we had to indicate demand 1 and demand 2. Here we are having something similar. So now what we have is we are seeing a decrease in demand. This one is called decrease in demand. Decrease in demand. It means what? That less of the commodity is bought without a change in the price. Price has remained constant, but there is a deduction in quantity demanded. We are going to see reasons. What causes this? There is a demand increase here without change in the price. There is demand decrease here without change in the price. That means that there are other factors that have caused the change other than the price. So, in our definition, if we go back, this is the increase or a decrease in the quantity demanded of a commodity without a change in the commodity price, or where there is an increase or decrease in quantity demanded of a commodity at constant price without changing the price, and you shall see the reasons. So these are the diagrams, and when you are drawing these diagrams, you make sure that you fully label them. If you are going to get a full mark on this diagram, don't forget quantity, don't forget price. Even if the diagram is very correct, but these axes are not labeled, you don't get anything because we don't know what you are illustrating. And the price is usually on the y-axis, quantity is on the x-axis. So these are the diagrams for change in demand. This is change in demand. However, you can decide to illustrate using one diagram. That is also possible. And this is what you do. You can use one diagram. D2, this is original, or 1, for that matter. This is this is D1, this is D3, 3, and 2, 2. So we extend this, and this will become Q3. So you say, this is the origin. So you will say that from Q1 to Q3 is increase in demand, and Q1 to Q2 is decrease in demand. So we can use one diagram to illustrate both increase in demand and decrease. Q1 is decrease. We take D1 to be the origin, the first curve. Then when there was a decrease, we went to Q2. When there was an increase, to D2, to D3, sorry. So that means at constant price, we can see the changes. So you can use, if they have asked you to illustrate a change in demand, you can use one diagram or use the two diagrams which we have started with, but it will be illustrating the same. But there is a point in time when they ask only one, that you define an increase in demand. When it comes to that, it means you draw only one diagram that shows the decrease. You don't need to add on the shows the increase without the decrease. If the question is about decrease, you draw one which is decreasing without the other one which is increasing. That's what we call change in demand. Now, after looking at the change in demand, we have to look at the causes. What causes this change in demand? And we have to look at it in the two ways. That is, we look at the reasons for increase. Reasons for the increase in demand. So we say reasons for increase in demand. And what is this? A shifting of the demand curve to the right when there is more demanded without a change in price. What causes this? Why do people demand commodities, more commodities, when the price has not changed? Sometimes the biggest guidance that I give on this is to look at all those other factors that affect demand apart from price. So the simple reason is a simple summary that due to the positive aspects of the factors, that affect demand other than prices, other than price. So all those factors which we looked at, when they become positive, there will be increase in demand without change in price. So that's what we have to look at. Why? Why is there that increase? Why does it occur? One is when the income of the consumer increases. When the income of the consumer, so increase in the consumer's income. Increase in the consumer's income. That one, I think I explained it when we are looking at the factors that determine demand. If you have been earning 10,000 and you could only afford 2 kilograms of sugar per week, because each kilo is costing 2,000. So you are earning 10, you say no, 4,000 should go to 2 kilograms of sugar. When the income is increased, say to 25,000, this was at 1,000, you are buying 2 kilograms. So 10,000, you are buying 2 kilograms of sugar. Now, if it goes to 25,000, you may end up buying, say, 5 kilograms. But the price of sugar has not changed. You are now buying more at constant price of sugar. More kilos you are buying at constant price. Not that the price has increased, because that's why you are buying 5 kilograms. You are buying 5 kilograms because your income has increased. So when the income increases, there will be an increase in demand without necessarily affecting, being affected by the price of the commodity. Then we say when there is government subsidy or when there is subsidization of the commodity. So number 2 is presence of government subsidy. Government subsidy. The moment there is government subsidy, what is the subsidy? Or what is subsidization of a commodity? When government gives a subsidy to the consumer, it appears as if the price has reduced, whereas the market price has not reduced, but the consumer can be subsidized. For example, if we are buying milk, a liter is 2,000. Let us call it 2,000 per liter. If the milk is 2,000 per liter, and Mr. X is buying 2 liters, how much does he spend on the liter? On milk. He spends 4,000. So Mr. X spends 4,000 every day on buying 2 liters of milk for his family. Now government realizes that milk is very important and people should take the milk. So instead of coming to force the supplier, the seller, the producer to reduce the price, government may come in and say, for every liter a consumer buys, government is going to pay, say, 500 shillings. Every liter a consumer buys, we pay 500, meaning that every liter the consumer now pays 1,500 instead of 2,000. So to the consumer it appears as if the price has reduced, but it has not reduced. But every liter, this one just notes down or writes down that I've sold so many liters, the consumers have paid 1,500 per liter, and the 500 is paid by government. What government pays is what we call the subsidy. Government has subsidized the consumer. So the consumer pays 1,500. Now this man who is buying 2 liters every day is now going to spend 3 times 2, which is 3,000. Now on his budget, 1,000 is going to remain. What he's going to do is to buy another half using the 1,000. Meaning that now he's going to buy 2.5. Demand has increased. Why? Because government subsidized and the demand increased compared to what was there before. Another example that you can have on subsidy, especially for, say, students who are at school, there might be a film show. These people have brought film at school and they are charging 1,000 entrance fee. So out of the 300 students who are supposed to enter there, when the headmaster asks, how many students will enter this film show, he realizes that only 100 can enter, paying the 1,000. So what the school can do, or if it's government, what can it do is to subsidize and says, no, we want everybody to attend the show. So students, each one should pay 600 plus 400 shillings subsidy. This one is going to come from the school, and the students pay this, and you find all these ones entering. The demand has increased from 1,000 to 100 to 300. Why? Because school has subsidized. The students are paying 600, the school pays 400. If it is government, the school is paying, the students are paying 600, the government is paying 400. That is a subsidy. The subsidy has helped the students who were supposed to be only 100 entering. Now all of them, demand has gone to 300. Why? Because there is a subsidy that has been given to all those who are going to attend the film. So that means that demand can increase as a result of a subsidy given by the government. The government gives the subsidy, and this appears as if the price has reduced, whereas it has not reduced. It remains the same, but the government now has added money. I think that's what we also see with UPE, though it may have some weaknesses here and there. The parents used to pay, say, 15,000 per term. Government comes in and says, no, those people should pay only 3,000 per term. The balance we are going to pay as government, that means there is a subsidy that has been given by the government. Now, a school which had 600 students, the following term, they become 1,500. The demand has increased at constant price. The price has not changed, but the government has subsidized. So to the parent, he thinks there is a reduction in the price, whereas actually there is no reduction in the price. The price has remained the same, but it has been partly paid by the government. So that's what we call subsidy. And the usual subsidies are very important in increasing the demand for the commodities. Another factor that leads to increase in demand is the increase in the size of the population. Whenever there is an increase in the size of the population in an area, in a place, there will be increase in demand without changing the price. Yeah, I usually prefer giving examples of students because they are the learners. If you look at a school, if the school has got, say, 500 students, and you have been bringing a certain basket of pancakes, if the following year the school goes to 1,200, there will be an increase in demand for pancakes, not because you have reduced the price of pancakes, but because the population has increased. So whenever population increases, there is an increase in demand. And that is what usually economists say, that we need a big market, a big population. And if you look at what government is doing, is to participate in economic integration. Economic integration means what? You are getting more people buying your commodity. Even if the price has not changed, you are going to get more people. You are going to get Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, all of them will be buying the commodities. That is increasing the population, which is called increasing the market for the commodity. So whenever population increases, there must be an increase in the demand for the commodity, a shift of that demand curve. Then another one is what we have mentioned there. An increase in demand is when there is anticipated increase in the price in the future. When people anticipate prices to go up, the demand will increase. Without changing the price, you find people are buying. Why are they buying? That one is common in shops. When people anticipate that, or they hear that if, for example, in Uganda, Kakira sugar factory is going to close for 1 month. Lugazi is going to close for 1 month. Once they hear that, they say, what we are going in for is an increase in the price. Very soon, prices are going to rise. So you are going, if you are a shop dealer, you are going to find people coming for sugar. Say, what is happening? Where are people taking the sugar? They have anticipated that there's an increase in the price of sugar. Very soon, we are going to see an increase. To avoid that increase, not to avoid the increase, but to avoid paying that higher price, what they will do is to buy now and save themselves from expensive commodities. Another one is change. We say positive change in the tastes and the preferences of the consumer. Yeah, tastes can change. Fashions normally change the tastes, and you find an increase in demand of certain commodities. If, for example, you are around and there is a change in the taste of dressing, people now prefer to put on jeans. Even if there is no change in the price of jeans, the demand may increase because the preferences or the taste of the people putting on trousers has changed from ordinary trousers to jeans. So that creates a change in the demand. That leads to an increase in demand because the tastes have changed. Jeans still cost the same price, but because of the change in the taste, the demand increases for them. There's a time when there was a change in the preference, of these caps, these head caps, the small caps we put on. There's a time when everybody wanted to put on that cap. So people were selling caps. They realized that there was an increase in demand for these caps. Why? Not because they had better function or whatever, but everybody dressing up, you could dress up, but without a cap, you are not complete. So the demand increased because there's change in the preference and the taste. So when the commodities many consumers have changed their tastes, they want certain commodities, there will be increase in that demand without change in the price of those commodities. Then another reason is some of these we have already mentioned earlier. Increase in the price of a substitute. This one we mentioned it, and we said increase in the price of a substitute. Substitutes, I think we very well remember that substitutes are commodities that you can use in the place of another. A commodity that you can use in place of another commodity is called a substitute. And I gave the example of a tea and coffee. I also gave another example of Pepsi and Coke. These are substitutes. Now, if you went to the shop and realized that prices of tea have gone up, the substitute is coffee, whose price has not changed. People are going to run away from tea and buy coffee because they are substitutes. So whenever there is a rise in the price of a substitute, then this other commodity whose price has not gone up, which has remained constant, the demand is going to increase because people are going to run away from that commodity where price has gone up. And then they buy a substitute. The same with the Pepsi. If one of these days Pepsi says, for us we are selling our bottle at 1,200, and Coke says, no, for us we are not changing, it is 1,000. People are going to abandon Pepsi and go for Coke, whose price has not changed. So when there is a rise in the price of a substitute, there will be increase in the demand of another substitute or another commodity. So a rise in the price of a substitute, that is what you are likely to have. Then the last one, a fall in the price of a complementary These ones we talked about them earlier in our earlier discussions in other subtopics. A fall in the price of a complementary good, and we say complementary goods are goods that are used together. You cannot satisfy a need unless both commodities are present or you have them. So if you have a need, you have to satisfy a particular need, and it has to be satisfied with the combination of the two commodities. That without the other one, you cannot satisfy the another. That means they move together, they are used together. And I gave the example when you have a gun and a bullet. If you want to shoot, that's what you want. There's no way you're going to shoot without the bullets. If these are sold separately, the moment you reduce the price of the gun, the demand for the bullets whose price has not changed is going to increase. So those are complementary goods. They move together, they are used together. They are used together to satisfy a certain need that you have. So if there is a fall in the price of a complementary good, and I gave the example here, another example in the other subtopic, and we said wheat flour and cooking oil to satisfy what need? Chapati. The person selling cooking oil will see a big increase in the demand when the price of the wheat flour has gone down. He may wonder, everybody now comes for cooking oil. Why? The price of wheat flour, which has been 5,000 per kilo, is now 3,000. And there is no way you're going to use this wheat flour without cooking oil to make a chapati. So the demand for cooking oil is going to increase because the man who was buying one packet of wheat flour is now buying 3 packets of wheat flour. So he needs more cooking oil. Cooking oil whose price has not changed, the demand is going to increase. It is increasing because of a fall in the price of a complementary commodity, which is wheat flour. So these are some of the factors that cause an increase in demand. Now, a decrease in demand. A decrease in demand, I normally simplify it for the student. You have to change. What you do, you only change the reasons for the increase, and we change this to read reasons for a decrease in demand. In other words, why is there a reduction reduction in quantity demanded of a commodity when the price has not changed. These very same factors are the same factors for the decrease. But now we make the opposite. We reverse these very factors. So what you do is to look at each and make it a reverse. Make it the opposite. And if we do it now, we look at it now, you see that reasons for the decrease in demand, one of them is a decrease in the consumer's income. That causes a reduction in demand. If you have been having a subsidy, what will make the demand to reduce? It is going to change to say absence. We use the presence, now it's absence of government subsidy. The subsidy that was given, like we gave the example of a film. Students are paying 600 and the government is paying, or school is paying 400. There is a subsidy of this, and that is 1,000 entrance fee. If this subsidy is cancelled, that means the consumers are going to go back to 1,000. The demand definitely will reduce. So, absence of government subsidy. Increase in the population size. Now we say it is decrease in the population size, or in the size of the population. Then anticipation of increase in a price in the future, still the same. Anticipation of a decrease in the price of the commodity in the future. So, if you have been buying sugar at 3,000 a kilo, and they tell you that there are 3 factories that have opened up to start producing sugar, you anticipate now this increase in the supply is going to lead to a decrease in the price. That sugar which they have been selling 3,000, they are now going to sell 2,000. I was going to buy 5 kilograms. Let me buy 1 as I wait for the price to go down and I buy the other 2. So a decrease in the price of anticipated price. Change in the taste and its preferences. Here it was supposed to be positive change. Now you make it negative change in the tastes and preferences. If the miniskirts were having a big market, if the society has changed and looks at it as something that is not good, that is negative change, it means that there's going to be a decrease in the taste and preference and a decrease in demand. Then increase in the price of the substitute. Still the same. We reduce. Decrease in the price of the substitute. Same as we saw. It is tea and coffee. Tea has been costing 300 shillings a packet, and coffee was costing 300, the same cost per packet. Now, if the coffee price goes down, this one remains constant, no change here, but this one has gone down to 200 per packet. There's going to be a reduction in the demand of tea because people are going to run to the substitute and buy coffee whose price has gone down. Here we said whose price has gone up, they run to where it has gone down. The same here. If there is a reduction in the price of a substitute, people will abandon this and go for that. Then the last one, a fall in the price of a complementary good. And here we say it's not a fall, it's an increase. An increase in the price of a complementary good. And still, if we give the example, we go with the example of our wheat flour and the cooking oil. If this one has remained 3,000 per packet, And cooking oil, which is a complementary good, has risen from 4,000 per liter to 6,000. Even the price of wheat flour, the demand for wheat flour is going to go down. Why? The complementary good price has gone up. So here we see an increase in the price of the complementary good. Those ones explain they explain the decrease in the demand for the commodities. So those are the reasons for decrease. We looked at the change. So now the change is complete. We have looked at the decrease and the increase. Both combined, they make up what we call the change in demand. So when you talk of change in demand, is increase and decrease. If they want it separate, they would ask you causes of decrease or causes of increase. But if the question comes and say, what are the causes of the change in demand, it means you're going to give both the reasons for decrease and the reasons for increase. And it's better to make them separate, present them in a separate way, so that they are not confusing the one reading, even the one presenting. And our next heading is change in quantity demanded. Change in quantity demanded.